Ranking Member Louise Rees and members of the Select Subcommittee. I'm Kristian Andersen, Professor of Scripps Research. I've spent most of my scientific career studying infectious diseases, including origins. Today's hearing is targeted at a paper my colleagues and I published titled The Proximal Origin of SARS-CoV-2. In this paper, we concluded that the virus very likely emerged as the result of a zoonosis, that is, a spillover from an animal host. This remains the only scientifically supported theory for how the virus emerged. If convincing new evidence were to be discovered suggesting otherwise, we would, of course, revise our conclusions. This is science. My initial hypothesis was that SARS-CoV-2 was likely an engineered virus. This was based on limited data and preliminary analyses where I had observed features that appeared to be unique. However, we soon discovered that those features are readily found in related coronaviruses, and the virus itself looks to be a clear product of natural selection and not actual engineering. Allow me to briefly outline how we went from these early hypotheses to later conclusions. First, proximal origin was based on scientific evidence and analyses by a team of international experts with extensive track records in studying infectious disease emergence. Second, the paper was peer-reviewed by independent experts, resulting in multiple revisions. Third, we have continued to pursue independent investigations into the origin of the pandemic and published our results. Fourth, additional research by other researchers support our early conclusions. Today, I hope to share more about this important research with the goal of being better prepared for future pandemics. However, I must first address several allegations made about our work. The Select Subcommittee majority has alleged that our paper was orchestrated by Dr. Anthony Fauci to cover up a lab origin of SARS-CoV-2 as directed during a February 1, 2020 conference call. It has also been suggested that a grant awarded to myself and colleagues from 5 different countries was a quid pro quo for changing our conclusions. These allegations are false. First, the claim that Dr. Fauci prompted the drafting of proximal origin to disprove the lab leak is not true. In an email to the journal Nature, I stated, prompted by Jeremy Farrar, Tony Fauci, and Francis Collins, we have been working through much of the primarily genetic data to provide agnostic and scientifically informed hypotheses around the origin of the virus. There was no prompting to disprove or dismiss a potential lab leak. In fact, when I outlined my initial hypothesis about a potentially engineered virus, Dr. Fauci told me, and I'm paraphrasing here, if you think this virus came from a lab, you should write a scientific paper about it. Not only is this not a prompt to disprove the lab leak theory, it was specifically predicated on our initial hypothesis of a lab-associated virus. The allegations that Dr. Fauci prompted the drafting of proximal origin to disprove the lab leak is quote mined from an email I wrote to participants of the February 1 conference call. The scientific method is based on 2 basic concepts of 1, formulating hypotheses, and 2, testing those hypotheses, often by trying to disprove them. My initial hypothesis was a lab theory. When I stated that we were trying to disprove any type of lab theory, I was specifically referring to us testing our early hypothesis. This is textbook science in action. Some have alleged that I have received a federal grant in exchange for the conclusions made in our proximal origin paper. There is no connection between the grant and the paper. Funding decisions on the grant were made before the pandemic, months before the February 1 conference call. In closing, we live in a world in which the risk of devastating pandemics is real and is ever increasing. We need more research and commitment to science, not less. However, scientists, including myself, who dedicate their professional lives to impactful research are being targeted and used as pawns in a political game. I hope this hearing can be a starting point for more productive conversations and actions of working together to contribute to an increased knowledge of pandemics for our safety and the safety of future generations. Thank you.